everyone. Welcome to the Self-Awareness Journey podcast. I'm Melissa Albers.
And I'm JJ Parker. This podcast is for seekers, seekers of happiness and joy, seekers of a centered approach to success in life, seekers of their true, authentic selves.
Get ready for some real talk on everything from anxiety, emotions, and habits to love, compassion, and forgiveness. We know you'll be challenged and enlightened by this conversation. We're so glad you're here. Let's dive in.
Well, yesterday we were doing some business stuff at my little startup, Screenweave, and one of the engineers asked like a great question. He goes, "Hey JJ, which of these metrics is more important for us to track?" And so this is like a video, this is a video sharing product.
Yeah.
So he's like, is it more important to track how many videos our users create, or is it more important to track how many times they view the videos? It's like, well, what a great, interesting question. And so, it gets you thinking about what metrics are important and what is useful about tracking these metrics in the first place.
Well, the other thing I was just reflecting on as you were talking is how many times are we in something in which we don't really know what we're trying to track, and so we try to track everything and then have like zero success because we're trying to track everything, and not everything is equal.
So this little exercise of tracking metrics, obviously, like in the business context, there's so many metrics we track all the time, and then we graph them, and then we want to see them going up and to the right, and
like a hockey stick. That's the famous phrase.
At these metrics.
Look at this hockey stick.
And so it's kind of like
But we do that in our personal lives too, don't you think?
So that's what I was gonna say. Is it's very common in business. We all do it in business. It's like the thing.
Yeah.
The very famous Peter Drucker, who's a management expert, had that famous quote: "You can't manage what you can't measure." Right? So he would advocate for business. You have to measure all of these things, keep all these metrics so you can manage to them, which is, I think a pretty tried and true principle. But the question is, like you just asked, do we apply this to our personal life?
Yeah. And I would say we are always studying metrics in our own heads without even knowing we are.
So here, I'm going to text you.
Oh.
I told you I was going to text you a thing. So I want
oh no,
in real time, I want you to look.
Oh my gosh. Oh, are you kidding me?
So can you explain
I don't know. How much time do we have?
What you are currently seeing?
This might have
to
be a part. What the hell is this, JJ? Okay, well, first of all, I recognize the software. It's like Trello,
it's this,
right?
Like,
or something
project
like that?
management software that allows you to track things.
Oh, you know what? I love you, as I've told you, but you are a freak. You are a freak. Okay, so this Trello board, so the premise of the Trello, actually it's a free account in case anybody wants to check it out. It's actually really cool. It's sort of like an electronic Post-it note board. And you can put them in like
the
columns.
Technical term is a Kanban board, so you can like move things.
Oh my God. Okay, AKA it's like a Post-it note board. Okay. Am I meant to read all these?
Well, just try to explain what it is. So it's a bunch of columns.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay. So you have. So I just think that's the best way is if everybody pictures Post-it notes, the little square ones, and you have them going across the page. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 columns, and each column has its own title. Okay. For example, how 2023 feels. Oh, interesting. Growth, practice, health. I don't know if you want me to share
some
these.
of them, sure.
Okay, adventures. Family and friends. Okay, so you have a number of focuses, and then there's a drop-down menu. So picture taking a bunch more Post-it notes within the same subject line.
Good.
How am I doing? That's pretty good, huh? Okay, and then then each Post-it would have a specific topic within that subject matter.
Yeah. So, right, for what do we got for recreation? I've got a
Yep.
tennis. You rate how good you are at tennis with this like USTA score or metric. So I want to
Okay.
be above a
Yep.
4.0 in my tennis metric. That's one of them, right?
Wow.
Family. I want to do a one-on-one trip with each one of the kids this year. That's a metric.
Oh, that's awesome.
For growth, I want to attend one professional learning event. So, right, so I've got, so this is a list of all of the metrics that I wanted to track for 2023 and how I'm doing on
Did
them.
you? Okay. Did you just make
No,
this?
this is
No,
for 2023.
This is what
I've been working on for the year.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
Look at this.
I feel like I need to lay down. This is exhausting to look at all of this.
As much as you and I hang out and talk, here's a couple little extra secrets that you didn't know.
Oh, this is amazing.
Okay.
Well, wow.
This is a thing. So there's got to be, what do you think? There's probably 30 things on this. So I tried to track for 2023
Yeah.
30 metrics that I thought were important. And they're generally around like, I've got reading, writing, drawing, I've got health stuff.
There are
no
33.
alcohol.
You have 33.
Like lifting, meal plan 150 times per, like 150 days. I got work stuff. I got fun stuff. I got adventure-y stuff. Got family stuff, right? So I tried to track this whole thing for the year.
Wow. I am so impressed.
Okay.
Maybe we should just save this for the our New Year's resolution pod. Folks, we're going to be replaying this in a few weeks.
It's December. So like we are in the goal setting sort of plan, especially like in our businesses. We're already been planning 2024, and the holidays is a great time to start reflecting on what you want to do next year. There are things that I've tracked on there that, are obviously personal to me.
Yes.
And I have done a variety of like personal metric stuff. So that was one version of it. This one's a little older, but this is another personal metric tracking thing I did where
Oh, wow. Okay. Now,
this is
a pie chart, everybody.
It's a time tracker. So I wanted to understand where I was spending most of my time. Like, this is like waking hours. This isn't just like, this is 100% of my waking hours. How are they diced up?
Yeah. I just feel like I need to be transparent here and say I'm really judging myself harshly.
I'm going to flip that on you after you do that.
Okay, let's finish this though. So everybody, this here is a pie chart that has 1, 2, 3, 4 primary. Oh, sorry. Seven. Yeah. Seven primary focuses. Each is color coded, and then just is represented by a percentage of time.
Yep. So I was doing 46% of my waking hours was my primary job, tightrope.
Right.
24% family and kids, 8% self/fun, 6% chores, and then it was diced up like 8, 5, 4% on my side projects. So this was a way for me to understand like how much time am I spending in various places, and is that the right amount of time?
Wow. How often are you checking? How often through the year did you check?
My that first chart, my big goals.
Yeah, the big one, the Post-it note one.
Yeah,
every month.
It was like a monthly check-in.
Oh, that's a good. And did you put it in your calendar?
Well,
How did
so
you do that?
it's easy for me because I correlate it just with my Vistage monthly meeting. So so it's in my calendar. It's like I have this monthly meeting, and I know that during that meeting I update my goals.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome.
There's a bunch of things we track, like you said, that we either track explicitly. Well, actually, we probably don't track explicitly, but we track kind of in the back of our head. I think the two primary ones are money and weight.
Okay, so can I tell you mine before you go off into your
Okay.
hypothesis? Now that you've spent your entire life plotting out your every single waking moment
Yeah,
on a
yeah.
graph and then in Trello. So, a number of hours ago when we chose this topic, it was literally a number of hours ago. I was like, oh, I love this topic. What are the things that I track? So I sat down and I too created my list of tracking. Okay. You know what? Just for full transparency, I'm going to actually text it to you too, because I feel like that's that's a really fair thing to do. Yeah. And rather than breaking it down into an electronic subcategory list, I just took out a pen and I flipped over a sheet of paper that didn't have any writing on the back. And I decided, what are the main headlines? Are there like main headlines? So I came up with 3, and I just sent it to you. I came up with 3 primary headlines.
Is the top one say mundane?
Yes, it does.
You have life goals that are mundane. Way to reach for the stars.
Yeah, no,
okay.
Hang on. We did not say that these were life goals. We said, what do we measure?
Okay.
What do we track?
You're tracking mundane activities like how much dog food is left.
Yeah, because I hate going to this pet store. I hate going to I hate ordering online the dog stuff. Okay? I hate it.
What week
Can you
is
read?
the damn recycling?
Yes.
Because the every other week pickup is a real pain in the ass.
It is a huge pain in the ass to remember when you are not a detail person. By the way, I wasn't planning on sharing this with you, but I just felt like it was fair.
So and then you have analytical, right? So that's good.
Yep. So,
all bills are paid, right?
Yep. Financial goals.
And then heart.
Right?
That's
I have
great.
matters of the heart that I track. And if you'll notice, it's the longest list. Okay? Which, in reflection, I feel quite proud of myself over that. So matters of the heart. Oh, okay. So let's finish the mundane list first. So how much dog food is left? When's the last time the house was really cleaned? Because I can't relax unless the house is clean. Right? But what I can do is I can say to myself, all right, now let me see here. Oh, no. The house was totally clean like 4 days ago. I can still relax for another 2. Because somewhere in my brain I said at least once a week it has to be really cleaned. And if we're getting towards the end of that week, there's a lot of dog hair. Like, you can walk around with dog slippers in this house just by walking across the room if you don't vacuum 3 times a week. Okay. Anyway, what week is the damn recycling? That causes so much. You can't know how many times there are signs put on the door. Tomorrow's recycle day. Okay. All right. Analytical. Those are sort of the plain, like what everybody worries about all the time. Bills being paid, financial goals met, et cetera, all that stuff. Okay. So here's the ones that I really love though. This is for the heart one. How many times have I connected with my kids this week? That's a big thing for me. Now, I consider that Snapchats, texting,
just anyway, right.
phone calls, and in person. Yeah. But these are the things that sit in the back of my system. And if I'm not in my normal flow with that, it bothers me. So even though I don't have it necessarily tracked, it's something that I track without recognizing I track it. So this is the thing that I found kind of interesting is how many things, JJ, if you look at your list, are there things that you track that you don't realize that you're actually tracking besides that list?
Like in my head. Oh yeah, I'm sure there are.
I mean, it's interesting when you
so
think
I tried
about
to
it,
like the thing that started my list is how 2023 feels, and this was my attempt to do what you're doing now is like like I wanted to track how I was feeling through the year and align and really try to get myself to. So one of them is in the flow. Like I like it when I'm in the zone or in the flow, and I want to be in that state more. So if I can check in with myself and think about if I'm doing that or not.
Yeah, that's interesting. Let me ask you some dumb stuff. So like when it comes to your kids, so I'm an only child, and I think part of it is because I'm an only child. But in my mind, everything has to be equal. This is an only child thing that I've heard about, that when an only has multiples, that there's this concern of, oh my gosh, everything has to be exactly the same. So not in a rigid sort of way, but more in a self-motivating sort of way, like, oh my God, what if I don't want that to be the case? I never want one of my children to think the other one is having something better. And of course, they love this about me, and they use it against me at every corner, even though they're in their mid-20s. Little shits. Oh, you're taking Mitchell on a trip. You brought Megan to Europe. Just ridiculous. Mitchell went out for lunch. You didn't take me out for lunch. I'm just being kind of silly. But in the back of my mind, that is something that spools me up, right? You also talked about health. There's a number of things within my own personal health that weigh on me, but I don't realize they do until I sat and took this inventory. So it was like weight. I have a 5-pound range, and if it's not within that, I get real funky. Do I have a consistent yoga practice, or exercise practice? Because if I'm not, it eats at me. Ooh, you haven't been to yoga in a week. You haven't done that. And the other one that I've been recently more aware of is how much time I'm spending on my phone.
Yeah, screen time. You were asking about the kids. The thing that I'm well in tune with, but I don't actually, that's not true. I do kind of track it, is how much screen time they're on. Oh, yeah, because one of them it's crazy how much, screen time. It's like, this is terrible. I calculated it the other month.
Oh, my God. How did you... Okay.
Wow, because you can track all of it. It's all tracked in your phone, so you can just get the data out of the phone. He spent 108 hours in 1 month on YouTube. Like, how do you do that? That's insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't block all internet at our house. It's really frustrating.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a tech guy. That's Yeah, we're gonna buy some llamas instead.
Yeah, we're going. Yeah,
we're going straight llama
in the woods. So,
in the woods.
So this is. I think this metric thing is really interesting because
I do too.
In one way, why do we want to track these metrics? Because we want to see that we're either holding ourselves accountable to a thing we said we're going to do, or we're seeing improvement over time. And really, we like to see improvement over time. I like to see that somehow I'm getting better. And the metrics are a way to do that. Right?
Well, do you think that, yes, and I think it's also a way to compare and contest.
Well,
right?
Yeah, so the two that when I was thinking is what are the most common, if I think of the most common things that people probably track either specifically or just subconsciously, it was weight and money. Right? Which sounds kind of superficial, but it is does everyone know how much they weigh? Probably. And how much money they have? Yep. Those are so easy to track.
Right.
And they're to me, as I get older, they're becoming much less important than they maybe once were. But there's so many things you can track nowadays. I did.
Well, but hang on. You just said that in a really offhanded way, and I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like it's the reverse of that. Yeah. I feel maybe the mundane ones, a.k.a. what week is the damn recycling. But, and maybe how much money do I have today? But what if it's not? What if as you get older and you're unaware how much you're tracking it, that it gets to be a really grooved path that you're walking and it starts to be very constricting for you because you don't realize how much it's been in your system bothering you.
Yep.
Right? So I think it totally depends on what it is. That's an interesting thing to think about. It's what things do you personally measure in your own life? And do you do so in a positive way or in a negative way?
Yeah, I think we keep track of a lot of things kind of in the back of our head way more than we realize.
Oh, I think you're right.
Sitting and really trying to uncover what those things might be would probably be very helpful to maybe general happiness and anxiety.
I agree, because I wonder, the ones that we are unaware of are probably the ones that we have had in our system the most and the loudest, that we have learned to live with, not live through.
Yeah, just kind of quiet them enough.
Yeah, and they get, yep. And so that awareness, like, oh my gosh, I did not realize how much pressure I was giving myself because I haven't been to yoga in 3 weeks. Like, it's a constant noise and a constant comparison in my own mind against myself. Like, that's not a healthy outcome to something to measure that actually could be very healthy and very positive if the awareness is there.
The other thing that I was thinking about with these metrics is, as soon as you start collecting metrics, or even if you have these things in the back of your head, comparing them with other people's results is very easy to do, and is kind of dangerous.
Oh my gosh, I agree.
And so there will be even metrics I think about that are much harder, that they don't quantify happiness as well. For example, friends. Like, some people like to have a lot of friends, and if maybe you don't have a lot of friends, you kind of add all of that up, and then you kind of feel bad that you don't have as many friends as whoever in your life. The flip side of that is, like, I prefer to have fewer but deeper relationships, right? So to me, like, the number of friends, the higher that number goes, the less good I feel. I'm on a friend reduction program right now.
Because it's an...
Just kidding.
Thanks for the warning. But you know what else is so interesting about what you just said? Again, you said it in an offhanded way, which shows how your focus is with your metrics. But you said, whatever when we use these metrics to quantify our happiness. Okay. I don't think everybody has metrics that they use to quantify their happiness. I think if we're honest, we have an equal list, if not an unequal list, where it's on the heavier side. Using it as your own personal guide rails for how you are supposed to be, air quotes, in your own system.
This is what I want to talk about with my over-the-top tracking method. So I waffle on this method. Like, I'll do it. I did it this year. I'm not going to track that much stuff next year because it's kind of exhausting and it's too much. And
it's too much.
The problem is like you saw on that chart, like, there's a whole bunch of it that's red. I label it green.
Oh yeah.
Green was like, it's all good. Yellow's like, it's on the edge, and red's I didn't make it. There's a bunch red on there, and that doesn't make me feel good. Like, oh, look at how much stuff I failed on. Great. Like, so there's like a negative side of tracking metrics. Like, first you can become totally obsessed. Like, I know some people that have like Apple Watches and like all of this stuff. They're tracking all of these vital signs all of the time about themselves, and they're so freaking obsessed. To the point where it like makes them kind of closed or rigid about like how they're moving through life.
Or way too anxious.
And it causes anxiety. So
100%. Actually, I know 2 people in the last 1 month's time that have stopped wearing a Fitbit and an Apple Watch for that exact reason.
Yeah, so that constant monitoring of yourself can have like a pretty negative side effect. And to me, it also, like, if you make like a goal for a year or something, you might be halfway through the year and that goal might not serve you anymore. But you can cling on to it because you're like, well, I've been tracking this the whole year. I said I was going to do this. I'm going to do it. You get kind of stubborn, and now you're just kind of in a place where it doesn't make sense anymore. Right?
Yes.
The other thing about tracking metrics that I've noticed is, and this is especially apparent when you're trying to do like a physical goal, in my experience, is that whenever you're doing any sort of like training and trying to get better in like a physical goal kind of way, you always plateau. There's always a part where like, I'm losing weight and I'm plateaued, or I'm I'm gaining muscle or I'm getting better at climbing or I'm doing whatever, and then I'm plateaued. Plateau is part of the growth process, but it's
or even going down
but
just
so
a little bit again, and then going.
Then you just want to give up.
Yeah.
Like, oh crap, now I'm not getting any better.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what? It isn't even just in the physical. In my coaching practice, we talk about that all the time, is that you see great growth and then all of a sudden you'll topple down a couple stairs is how I always phrase it. And it's amazing how people feel, oh my God, I've forgotten what I've learned. I'm not able to apply it. I'm not doing what I said I was going to. And then there's this huge self-judgment hit that occurs exactly as you're speaking to. And it is just part of the process, and it doesn't mean that at all.
So in my experience, I think this tracking stuff can be good. It can be bad. Like, it's hard to figure out what you should track personally.
Oh my God. You know what I was just thinking? I'm so glad I saw this Trello list of yours, because you represent what we all say we, quote, should do. You represent someone who goes all in and goes all the way to the end with it, right? And then at the end, you're like,
yeah, right.
It's okay. Then it's like, oh, thank God. So it isn't true. It isn't true that if you do all these things.
Whoever like bailed on the pod like halfway through is probably like, oh God, JJ's such an overachiever. But here I'm admitting to everyone I failed on half of them, and it's kind of too much.
It's just like strategic planning. With companies, it's always like, choose five things, because then you can measure it. I mean, if you're going to keep all of these, the only thing I can say about that, JJ, is you need to also have a little sliver in your pie chart that says, tracking. Right. 6% of my life.
I know some people who are way beyond even like what I attempted to do this year.
You do not.
Oh yes.
You do not. Oh. Okay.
Well, so like to sort of figure out like, or to wrap up like my opinion on this whole tracking thing is I found it useful. If you have too many, it's too hard. So like you said, it's like pick a couple. It's like my big attempt here was like I should or I want, or like I strived to do too much stuff, because you just can't do like 30 things. You can't track 30 things. It's way too much.
But the other thing I think that's super interesting though, and I'm just reflecting here on the 3 images that were flying around in our text sheets, is we also the headings that you choose. Just depending on your own life. I think it's such an interesting exercise to do this and choose the headings in your life that you do find that you track. It
would be better for me. I think this is what I'm going to do this year, is like, it would be better for me to just track something like just the headings. Like, am I feeling good about my personal growth practice? Yes or no? Am I feeling good about my health? Yes or no? Like, I don't have to track like all of these specific things about it. But if I just had just those headings and I just checked in with those headings every month to say, am I doing the things that I want to do in general? Because like, obviously it's ridiculous. Half my thing is just screwing around. Like I have separated out what growth is, what recreation is, and what adventure is. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh my God. Right. All right. For all of the more global thinkers that don't get into the weeds quite so much, in case you want to use mine again, they're mundane, analytical, and heart-focused. Okay, fine. Those are really, really obscure and strange ones too, but hey, they work for me.
The only other key to my ability to just keep myself on track a little bit is that like not that monthly check-in. Like I have an event, it happens no matter what, and I have to do the check-in. So what accountability system can you set up for yourself that keeps you thinking about those things in a regular cadence?
Yeah, I agree. And I also like what you were saying earlier about whatever you're tracking, there are certain things that you probably have tracked your whole adult life without realizing it. But there's probably other things that you're tracking that are just situational or just right now. And let that be okay. Like, I think this is a moving target.
I agree. It's like even once a year, it feels like a stretch to like think of what the metrics should be for the whole year. But what you said, like what you want to track, what you want to keep tracking, maybe what you want to add, what you want to keep, and what you want to delete, like what you want to remove.
Yeah, what you want to dump.
I think the remove part is a key element of success. Mm-hmm.
And happiness. Really a key element of happiness. If you let something go that you've been constantly bickering with yourself about, wow, wouldn't that feel good?
Look at this. Get this all done right ahead of New Year's resolutions, and then done.
Boom. What are we even going to talk about next?
Did you enjoy this episode? Please go to your favorite podcast platform to subscribe, rate, and leave a review so others can discover it as well.
Growing self-awareness is a lifelong journey, and there's always further to go. And it's better when we're all in it together. Please think of someone you know who could benefit from hearing today's conversation and share this episode with them. We can't thank you enough for listening. Until next time, happy exploring, seekers.